Good morning. My name is Chris Graham, and I am the worship associate today. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. Whether you've been with this church a decade or more, or if this is your first time visiting, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, whatever your journey has been, we welcome you. Newcomers and guests are always welcome to participate in any of our church activities. If you'd like more information about our church or Unitarian Universalism, please talk to our minister, Reverend Jane Thickstun. You can find her contact information on our website. Please consider attending the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly from June 23rd to the 27th. It's easy and affordable again this year, as it will be online. Please contact Alex Saxon if you're interested. The annual meeting for UUCNH members is today at noon on Zoom. You must have registered in advance to attend. The meeting link was resent via email to all registered attendees yesterday. Because of the time needed to check everyone in, the board is encouraging attendees to join the meeting early. The meeting's virtual waiting room will open at 11:30. Coffee hour will be abbreviated this morning to allow attendees to join the annual meeting. It will wrap up at 11:45. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. It is good to be together, even virtually. Our chalice lighting was written by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Holy, holy, holy. Our opening hymn is For the Beauty of the Earth. It's number 21 in the gray hymn book, and the words will be on the screen.
Miss Rumphius, story and pictures by Barbara Cooney. The Lupin Lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin Lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice, who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he works in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores, for Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school. She came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great-aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city, far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on long beaches picking up beautiful shells. One day she met the Bapa Raja, the king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine, too," said Miss Rumphius. My great-aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I have certainly seen far-away places. Maybe it is time to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water. She saw it set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there is still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." "But what? The world already is pretty nice," she thought, looking out over the ocean. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupins," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I have always loved lupins the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could have still more flowers next year." But she was not able to. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been for a long time. "I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top, for there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupins. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped. Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupin seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands sowing lupins. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her anymore at all. Now, some people called her that crazy lupin lady. The next spring, there were lupins everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third, the most difficult thing of all. My great aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupins. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the flowers of lupins. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often, she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that, I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say, but I do not yet know what that can be.
Hi, I'm Chris Hill with the Lay Pastoral Care Team. During our service, we create this sacred space for sharing within our community. It's a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so you can be held in loving care. I'll be reading the joys and sorrows this morning. We'll be placing a stone representing each joy or sorrow in the sand, representing our congregation, supporting the sorrows and lifting up the joys. Judy McCauley has a sorrow. My mom, Sally Lisbon, passed away peacefully on Friday, May 21st, surrounded by love and a circle of family and friends. She's finally resting after a long, hard fight during 2 years filled with incredible doctors and home health support that allowed her many more precious moments with us. A memorial celebration will be held later this summer, and donations can be made in her honor to Earth Justice if anyone is moved to do so. To Judy and her family, we say, we're holding you in our hearts. Dan Peters has an updated sorrow. I returned to West Penn for a 3rd course of therapy for my ITP platelet problem. It is mentally stressful for both my wife Lisa and me. Doctors assure me that this will improve, so good thoughts for us and the medical folks, please. To Dan and Lisa, we say, we're holding you in our hearts. And Ellen Kuntz has a joy. Kurt and I are celebrating our 40th anniversary today. It's been a wonderful journey. To Ellen and Kurt, we say, we share in your joy. We now place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows that exist in our hearts but remain unspoken today. We especially think of everyone suffering, directly or indirectly, from the COVID-19 pandemic. Please read with me the words appearing on the screen, understanding that here includes all those watching. Let us hold in our circle of caring each person here. Let us hold in our hearts those who are unable to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort in knowing that we are not alone.
I invite you now to join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. So please settle in a little more comfortably and close your eyes if you wish. Relax into the sacred space that you are in. And breathe. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Breathing in compassion. And breathing out peace. Whenever Dr. Čapek conducted his flower communion in Prague, he would consecrate the flowers with this blessing that I will now use to bless our flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Amen. And let us pause for a few moments of silent reflection.
We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. Today's offering will be shared with the Persad Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Persad Center is a human service organization whose mission is to improve the well-being of the LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning communities and the HIV/AIDS communities. The PERSAD Center serves our target populations and their loved ones, cradle to grave, across Western Pennsylvania. They fulfill their mission through outreach, prevention, counseling, and training services. To donate, please mail a check to the church office, made payable to UUCNH, by June 30th, with Share the Plate and/or PERSAD in the memo line, or go to the church website's donation page and select special offerings. Include the words Share the Plate and/or PERSAD when making the donation. May we give today in love and in hope. Please join me in saying the dedication of the offering displayed on your screen. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith.
Today's reading is called Community Means Strength and is from the book Dreaming the Dark, Magic, Sex, and Politics by Starhawk. We are all longing to go home, to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned. We can only catch glimpses of it from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion, without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins with our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends. Someplace where we can be free.
Thank you to our choir. It has been so wonderful this year to hear you sing, even in these really strange conditions. And thank you, Mary, for pulling it all together, as much work as it is. Beautiful. So, Flower Power. Title of this service, Flower Power. The gentle, beautiful way to make change. Growing up in the late 60s and the early 70s, this was cool, flower power. It represented the counterculture's way of asserting the power of nonviolence in response to the Vietnam War and in the spirit of Martin Luther King's influence on the civil rights movement. Today, we celebrate the flower power of our congregation. That is, the gentle, beautiful way our faith community changes lives. A circle of hands that opens to receive us, eyes that light up as we enter, voices that celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. With Starhawk, we know that community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. This year and more than a year, it's been hard. It's been hard to experience the power and beauty of the community when we can't see the gathered congregation in one room together when we can't hear the voices lifted together in song, when we can't feel the warm embrace of our neighbor or the circle of hands that opens to receive us. We attempt to represent the spirit of our community with a few photos and videos and with this beautiful bouquet that Becca has assembled. Yet if we were meeting in person, this beautiful bouquet would consist of the flowers that each of you actually would bring to the service. And you would each take a different one home than the one you brought. The symbolism would be clearer. And yet, in my better moments when I'm not despairing that we've lost our community to the pandemic, I am impressed with how well we have, in fact, stayed together through it all. I hope you have read the annual reports from all our teams and committees and the board in anticipation of today's annual meeting. You don't have to be a member to read the reports. You do only to vote. So if you haven't yet read them, please do at some point. You can find them on our website under the Members tab. And the first item there is the annual meeting, and the last item in that is the annual report. Read all the way through. The committee reports are at the end, and the teams. And these reports speak to all the ways we've been changing lives and living our mission throughout this full year of pandemic shutdown. They speak of all the justice work we've done, all the ways we've connected with each other, all the learning opportunities we've participated in, adults as well as children and youth. They tell the story of a year in the life of our community, and it's a beautiful story. Together, we have been making the world more beautiful, just like Miss Rumphius. Our community has continued throughout this time to be the inspiring, warm, fun-loving, prophetic faith community that I was drawn to 2 years ago when you called me to be your minister. But I miss many of you. Not having our common gathering once a week, there are people I haven't seen this whole time, not even on Zoom. I have been lucky in many ways to have work that continued and indeed increased during the shutdown. And I have connected with the leaders and the team members of the congregation through countless Zoom meetings. And I've seen our tech team and other worship participants on Thursday evenings for recording. I've kept in touch with friends and my sister, including a weekly Zoom call with one friend, and I've been going to my other office at the coffee shop in Bellevue for most of this time, where there's a small group of regulars I talk to. I've gone shopping, grocery and otherwise, for most of this time. I've gone on hikes organized and led by members of the congregation. On top of that, I'm an introvert, and I thrive on time alone. And for that all-important touch, I have 2 kitty companions, and Waldo, who I got as a kitten last August, is especially cuddly. So I've been faring pretty well. But how have you been faring during this time? Have you been lonely? Have your sources of income been affected? Have you felt trapped in your home? Have you been able to connect with friends and family? Do you have a community besides the church? One that you've been able to connect with during this time? Is your home a comfortable place to spend your time? as comfortable as it may be, there is more to the feeling of home than the place we sleep at night. Starhawk says, we are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community, she says. We need community as much as we need a roof over our heads and food in our bellies. We need a place where we can feel welcome just as we are. A group of people who will love us and embrace us and help us and comfort us when we are down and celebrate with us when we have a joy. This community is that for so many of us. A home, a place we feel we belong. We found out this year that a physical location is not a necessary feature of our community. I am delighted that new people still found us, still participated, and even joined as members without ever even seeing our beloved building. Until the new member joining ceremony, when they came and signed the book in person. But in spite of this good news, there are certainly limitations to the way the community gathers, and that we long to go home to our barn that has been made into such a beautiful and comfortable space. And the really good news is that we will be back together in person soon. Vaccines are doing their job. The plan is to be back together in this sanctuary for our In-Gathering Sunday on September 12th, without masks and even singing together. There is every indication at this point that it will be fine by then. For those who still feel uncomfortable gathering at that point or have mobility issues, we will be transmitting the services live over YouTube as we have been, except that what you will be seeing is the live service, not the pre-recorded wonderful creations of our talented tech team that you've been seeing. No editing. We make boo-boos, you get to see them. Meanwhile, there are opportunities to meet outdoors and even in the church building in smaller groups. Our task force updates the policy often to reflect the latest CDC guidance, and it is always available, this policy, always available on our website and in the e-news. We'll be having a congregational picnic at North Park on July 18th, so stay tuned for more on that. There is power in our faith community. We're connected not only to each other, but to a larger community of Unitarian Universalists that extends across the globe and deep into our past and our future. We are known for our inclusivity, our openness to theological viewpoints, and to all the ways people choose to express the beauty within them. We are a justice-seeking people, working to end oppression wherever we find it, even or especially when we discover it within ourselves. We get together to help each other in that elusive quest for meaning and purpose, to help each other find ways to be more loving with each other and in the world. We join together because, in the words of our mission statement, by building a loving religious community that nourishes the spirit, celebrates life, and cherishes the connectedness of all things, we will transform ourselves and our world. As the choir sang and as the flowers say, there is no such beauty as where you belong. Rise up, follow us. We will lead you home. And our final hymn is the Sweet June Days. It's number 65 in the Gray Hymn Book. The words will be on the screen, and this flower ceremony will follow.
The sweet June days are come again, once more the glad earth yields its golden wealth of ripening green and breath of clover fields, and evening shade of summer wood and glow of summer air, and winging thoughts and happy moods of love and joy and prayer. The sweet June days are come again, the birds are on the wing, bright anthems in their merry strain, unconsciously they sing. Oh, our cupboard brims with good these happy summer days, for all the joys of field and wood we lift our song of praise.
The significance of the flower communion is that just as no two flowers are alike, so no two people are alike, yet each has a contribution to make. Together, the different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. Our common bouquet would not be the same without the unique addition of each individual flower. Likewise, our church community would not be the same without each and every one of us. The unique beauty each one of us adds to the community. This service is a celebration of the diversity and the beauty of our church community. By bringing a flower, or a picture of a flower, or a picture of your sharing the flower video. So grateful for all of those that got shared. So by doing that, we show our willingness to be present, to contribute our unique beauty to the community. By taking away a different flower at the end of the service, we show our willingness to accept the gifts that others bring, a willingness to receive as well as to give, to be nurtured as well as to nurture. And that's what we're trying to achieve with the videos of the passing of the flowers that we give to each other. And the bouquet itself is a symbol of our joint willingness to walk together in our search for truth and meaning, finding beauty even in our differences, or especially in our differences. So, let the flower ceremony begin. In closing, I share with you these words of Sheldon Bennett and Bruce Southworth. We rejoice in our community of faith, which we signify this morning by the gathering of flowers. Keep us steadfast in our covenant, that by the testimony of our lives we may declare the saving power of our faith. This day and every day, may we live out our Unitarian Universalist faith, affirming the grace of all creation, being ever mindful of the world's need for greater compassion, justice, and beauty. Amen. And go in peace.